Welcome to episode 37 of the We Are Auto Show. What's up, Derek?
Oh, buddy, do I have some stories for you?
Look forward to hearing them. Welcome back to town, I should say.
Yes. So I have been away. Me and the wife went on a little trip to Las Vegas. We went to Phoenix. We went to Sedona. It was all around the Arizona in that deserty area. And it was the first time we'd ever been there.
Did you have a good trip?
We did. We happened to time Vegas exactly with SEMA.
Ooh,
I didn't
very nice.
actually mean to do that, but I was also very happy that I did that.
Oh, gee golly. Oh, darn. Whatever are you to do? You have to, unfortunately, be in Vegas right when all the cool car stuff is happening. Oh, damn.
Yeah. So I did a little bit of research on like how to get tickets, and on their website that it said you must be in the industry of, what did SEMA stand for in the last show?
Specialty Equipment Market Association, I believe.
So you have to be in the specialty equipment like industry. And technically through my current job, I probably could have gotten in, but I couldn't really find an easy way in. We weren't really there for that, so I didn't actually go into SEMA. But as I was wandering around the strip, oh boy, there were some SEMA cars out.
I could only imagine.
The first night we get there, and I think 5 minutes after we start wandering the strip, mind you, the strip is like a crowded, crazy, wild place. There are just twin-turbo Lambos, twin-turbo R8s ripping down the strip as fast as they could, which wasn't super fast, but you know that they were making head turns, or the heads turn. We saw a sweet CTSV wagon that was also twin-turboed with a bunch of logos on the side of it. McLarens, Ferraris, basically any supercar that anyone had. Once the SEMA show was like dwindling down in the daytime, they'd take the cars in the nighttime and just rip them down the strip.
Nice.
It was awesome.
Nice. Hell yeah.
I was in heaven. I bet you it was every 3 minutes there was some sort of supercar coming down the strip. And I couldn't tell if these were all, they weren't all twin turboed or everything. Some of them definitely were. Some of them had a ton of logos on there and were clearly show cars. Others, I think, were just like people who had rented Lamborghinis and they would just drive them up and down the strip as fast as they could.
I guess when you're in Vegas, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. It was super, super cool.
That's awesome. I'm a little bit jealous that you were there for all that. I'll be honest. I'm a little bit jealous of that.
Yeah, I didn't actually time it. Like, I didn't pick our time to go based on SEMA. It just so happened to be going on, which was awesome. But there were some other very interesting cars, in my opinion, there. You probably won't find them as interesting. But there was a company called Motional. Have you ever heard of that?
I have heard of Mosh. Well, no, I haven't. I only heard of it because you told me about it.
Yeah.
So let me revise that. No, I haven't heard about it until you said, hey, here's Motional, these self-driving cars thing. I was like, oh, okay, now I've heard about it. Great. So what about Motional?
They had a whole bunch of BMW 335i's, and they were driving them up and down the strip. And on the bumper, it said full self-driving car. And sure enough, you look in the driver's spot, nobody's there. But people were being... I'm assuming this is contracted with Lyft. They had bumper stickers of Lyft and Motional on there. They were being driven up and down the strip consistently with full self-driving BMWs.
Why BMW?
I don't know. From their website, it looks like they've partnered with a bunch of stuff. It looks like they could just get a good contract deal with BMW. I see Genesis on their website. I see a couple of vans from other manufacturers. But from what I can tell... on their website, they use a system of radar, which is just normal radar, like you bounce waves off of sounds of waves off of things. You have LiDAR, which is like little laser beams that go out and get reflected off back into a place. And you can, have you ever seen like iRacing does this? They scan a racetrack with LiDAR, and it has a whole bunch of little tiny dots, and they call it a point map. And that actually shows you the whole entire like topography and layout of the track and everything like that. So they use that, they use radar, and then they use just like normal visible cameras on the side of the car to determine where the car is in space and time, and then where to go next and predictive analysis. It's different than what Tesla's doing, But from what I could see,
Why? But what makes it different than what Tesla's doing?
Tesla doesn't have LiDAR. And when you
So
ever
that's
seen,
the big reason why it's different is because they're using LiDAR and Tesla is not.
yes. Have you ever seen like the self-driving vans or like Google cars that have this big thing protruding out the top and it's like always spinning around real fast?
Yeah.
That's LiDAR. So it's shooting a laser at a bunch of different places at all points. And that's what's trying to determine where things are around it. Tesla doesn't have that.
Okay.
The Tesla roofs are just flat. They just use cameras. Just straight up cameras like you would have in your iPhone, but they're a little more fancy than that, obviously.
Fair.
It's a different approach. I think that like a hybrid of all of these is probably the best approach because radar and LiDAR can get you through like interesting weather situations, whereas cameras, if it's like super snowy, it's tough for a camera to do much.
Got it.
So
That makes sense.
yeah, it was super cool to see. I was impressed to see that it was actually going on while there were a ton of pedestrians, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pedestrians just wandering around. And I guess these computers had to figure out, are they going to run in front of the street? Because if they are, I better stop.
Yeah, that's the issue is we can read body language and facial expressions and all that as a driver, but sensors can't read the person's eyes to see where are their eyes looking.
Right. I didn't see any big hiccups or any problems. I would imagine that they're gathering a lot of really good data while they're out there, especially on pedestrian walkways and all that kind of stuff. But there was also, as I was out in Arizona, I saw a Waymo self-driving van. Have you seen Waymo before or heard of Waymo?
Not really.
Okay. Waymo is the Google, it was formerly like Google's self-driving project, and now it's called Waymo. I think Google either sold it or gave it over to Waymo. And it was pretty cool to see them out there. They're also using LiDAR, so they had a really big fixture on the top of the van, and it was driving people around town. So while I was out
now, did you get into any of those self-drivers?
I did not. I kind of wish I had just put Lyft on my phone and tried to get a self-driving car because it would have been cool to see. But I didn't get in any.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But it was really cool to be there, especially while SEMA was happening. Did you see some news that has come out of SEMA?
I haven't seen a lot of news coming out of SEMA because I've been a little more in tune to the racing world lately because there's been a lot of that, which we'll get into later. But what do you got coming out of SEMA?
There has been a lot of racing news. Out of SEMA, I did see that someone brought what you would probably love. They brought an LS3 swapped Tesla.
Yes. Here we go. LS swap the world. Yeah, brother. Let's get an LS Tesla. I love that.
It is
I love that.
Yeah, it's a wild vehicle. They put an LS3 crate motor in the front. It's a V8. It sounds and rumbles exactly like you would expect it. This was done by a YouTuber called Rich Rebuilds. He is a dude that is synonymous for taking either broken Teslas and fixing them. And that's not easy to do considering they're all basically electronic. And he has gotten into hot water before with Tesla for like taking apart the cars unsafely and then giving it back to customers and not being under contract with Tesla, yada, yada, yada. He's a big a right to repair guy. He's a big like, I want to be able to fix my own car and you manufacturer are making it difficult for me to fix it. So I think that this is a big middle finger to Tesla and it's kind of awesome.
Good. I can dig that. That's freaking sick.
Yeah. It's a cool story that comes out of SEMA. I did not see it.
Would you drive an LS swapped Tesla?
Of course I would drive an LS swapped Tesla.
Yeah.
I think,
even you would drive an LS swapped Tesla.
Oh, it'd be awesome. I'm sure it wouldn't be as fast, but it'd be loud and it'd be rumbly and it would turn heads, and that's what SEMA's all about.
That's the whole point. It's sick. I love this whole idea of an LS swap Tesla.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm sure you can save a ton of weight by pulling the batteries out and the electric motors out and everything, but neat stuff.
Very. Yeah, that's freaking cool. And now I want an LS swap Tesla. Even better, I want a Cummins swap Tesla so I can roll coal.
Yeah, I'm sure that I believe it has been done. I have not seen one off the top of my head, but it would be awesome to see.
That would be sweet. That would be sweet.
Was there any other news in SEMA that you happened to see?
So there was one little thing in SEMA that I did catch. Now, SEMA does this like new product award winner category and like a bunch of different categories and classes and things. But the one that really piqued my interest was the category of performance street product. So, yeah, it's just they've got 1,000 different categories of whatever the things you could win in. Now, this one, the winner of the new product award, the performance street product, is the General Motors ZZ632/1000 crate engine. I am in love with this. This whole idea. So it's a big block V8 crate engine that it's the most powerful crate engine GM has ever built, as a matter of fact.
Oh, boy. Okay.
It's sick. So it is essentially a 1,000+ horsepower crate engine that you can just drop into pretty much anything that you can fit it into. That you can just plug and play and put it on some 93 octane and you got 1,000 horsepower.
Oh, God.
Raise hail, praise Dale. Yeah, brother. Bald eagles everywhere. I love this. This is just so great. It's so great.
And Chevrolet did this, right? The manufacturer built this.
The manufacturer was like, all right, I'm just going to give you guys what you want, and I'm going to give you a great big giant V8 for you to put into whatever the hell you want to put it into. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, one of my favorite parts about this is that it's a 632 cubic inch displacement. Now, a lot of us in the car world know things about how many liters are in such displacement, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know how many liters a 632 cubic inch motor is?
I have no idea.
It is 10.3 liters. This is a 10.3 liter V8.
Oh,
yes!
That is massive.
That's huge. I love it so much. It's great. It's a 10 liter V8. Who doesn't want a 10 liter V8?
That is
cool. I want a 10 liter. I'll put a 10 liter V8 in my Volkswagen. That would be sweet.
Yeah, that would be a lot of power for a little Volkswagen. On the website, it says that the maximum recommended RPM is 7,000.
They had to put the recommended in there because someone's going to crank that thing up to like 13 grand and throw a rod through the stratosphere.
That is awesome. Pew! I'm glad that the manufacturer, aligned with their customers, and they were like, yeah, here's 1,000 horsepower. Put it in whatever you want.
Exactly, especially since we know that the Camaro is pretty much going to be gone in the next few years for being replaced by some stupid EV four-door family car. I'm glad that you're going to be able to just straight up go to Chevy or GM and say, hey, I'd really like 1,000 horsepower. Can I have that, please? And they're like, sure. Have you met the ZZ632-1000 Deluxe crate engine? It's exactly what you need. It's what the doctor ordered.
It is indeed what the doctor ordered.
Gotta love it.
That is cool.
Yeah. So that's my highlight of the SEMA news. It's pretty much the only thing I saw and frankly cared about because it's a 1,000 horsepower crate engine. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
There was one other notable thing that I saw at SEMA, which was somebody had taken their Bronco and replaced its paint with grass. I believe real grass, because they were watering it.
Why?
I don't know. Because it's specialty equipment.
Yeah. You know what? Touche. That is SEMA. SEMA is just, let's get the wildest, weirdest things that anyone could possibly dream up, and let's just put it into a car and just call it a day.
Yeah. That's basically exactly how it goes at SEMA, and that's what it should continue to be.
Yeah. Agreed. So let's move on from SEMA, shall we?
All right. Let's do it.
So there was an endurance race that had happened last weekend, I believe it was. Yeah, Sunday, Saturday or Sunday, whatever day it was. I think it was Saturday. Either way, there was an endurance race in the FIA WEC World Endurance Championship.
Okay.
It was the BAPCO 8 Hours of Bahrain.
Now, this is the second time that they've raced at Bahrain in 2 weeks, correct?
Correct. Yes. Okay. So they raced in Bahrain. They did the 6 Hours of Bahrain, which replaced the 6 Hours of Fuji the week prior.
Okay.
So let's talk about the 8 Hours of Bahrain for a second.
Let's do it.
Did you catch any of it at all, Derek?
I did not. I was on vacation, and I didn't see any racing.
That's fair. That's fair. So let me give you a little bit of a synopsis or a play-by-play as to how this all played out here. So we already know what's going to happen in Hypercar. We already know Toyota's going to win because they're just the strongest team and they have been, and they don't really have much competition. But the only competition they kind of had was Alpine, and Alpine, they were struggling with a bunch of gearbox issues throughout the race, so they definitely weren't going to be able to beat Toyota. That's for damn sure.
Man, I wanted to see Alpine do well. Do you know if Glickenhaus was there?
Nope, Glickenhaus was not there.
Oh, okay.
I'm hoping we'll see a lot more Alpine and Glickenhaus next season, but we already know 2023 is going to be the big year for Hypercar and LMDH and all that. So let's get away from the Hypercar for just a second, and I do want to just touch base on GTE AM. So the LMGTE AM class, maybe one of my favorite classes. There was a bunch of bumping and grindings. There was a lot of like Aston on Aston crime, Aston on Ferrari crime. The Astons were getting tangled up in pretty much everyone. I mean, Astons were either diving into corners or being dived into. Just lots of Aston bumping and grinding in the GT AM class. So, what do you think was going to happen in GTE Pro? Because going into this race, if you recall, after the 6 hours of Bahrain, it was essentially a 1-point difference, pretty much a tie in the championship points between Porsche and Ferrari.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what you want to see going into the last race of the season. And I am sure that there was some close racing that happened.
There was something.
Okay.
So let's talk about this Porsche-Ferrari battle for just a moment, because this needs to be talked about. So in LMGTE Pro, Porsche and Ferrari. Porsche started the race pole. I believe they were 1-2 pole, one pole in second, starting the race. Going into the first corner, one Porsche just took the first sequence of corners very nicely. The second Porsche outbraked themselves, and they went wide and fell back a couple spots, but ended up climbing back a bit.
Okay.
Then throughout the race, there was just some solid racing, nothing too crazy. Now, in like the last final stages, the final act of the season. Now, this is the end of the WEC season. Mm-hmm. So pretty much with this 1-point difference, whoever's winning this race is winning the championship between Porsche and Ferrari. So with the last tiny little bit of time remaining, there was, how do I put this nicely? There was a blatant and complete utter punt from Ferrari to Porsche. So Porsche was leading. Ferrari was very close. They went into one of the corners. I think it may have been turn 1 at Bahrain. I'm not very familiar with the track layout, what turn is what. And Ferrari honestly didn't even brake. They just completely kicked him square in the ass, and the Porsche went spinning out, and that was it for the Porsche.
Ooh. You sound like a very upset Mr. Porsche over there.
I am a little bit sour. I'm a bit salty here, I'll be honest. This contact literally cost Porsche the entire race.
And the championship in the class.
And yes, because Ferrari went into a corner, I don't know, sightseeing, because maybe the Ferrari driver thought they saw pretty late in the stands and wasn't paying attention, or was just being a dick and wanted to just punt him.
Did the stewards decide that this was a racing incident?
So we need to talk about that.
Uh-oh.
So initially, race control told the Ferrari, give the position back.
Oh.
They didn't.
Oh.
Yep. Initially, the stewards were like, yep, Ferrari, give the position back. That was a shitty move. You don't deserve that. And Ferrari just took the checkered in first place.
Okay, usually that means that you are either given a time penalty after the race or you're disqualified from the race. One of those two things normally happens.
Nothing happened.
What?
Porsche launched an official appeal.
Yep.
And everything was just denied. Did you see the contact? Have you seen a highlight of it?
I did see the highlight of the incident you're talking about. It seemed very...
It looked pretty blatant to me.
It seemed blatant to me as well. It seemed like the situation where if the other guy doesn't finish the race, you win the championship kind of situation. And he just didn't really want to break, so he punted him off. And I mean, I can see where he's coming from. He wants to win the championship, but it was not one of those you're diving to the inside to take the position where you have some side-to-side contact. It was my front bumper hits your rear bumper, and I forgot to brake, and you go spinning off.
Yeah, literally just like rear-ended in traffic.
Yes, and straight on. There was no move to down to the inside or anything. It was straight on.
Correct.
I'm very surprised that nothing happened after the race from the stewards.
I have a theory.
Okay.
So after the 6 hours of Bahrain, the race just the week before, where Porsche did win, but it's not like Porsche did not cream the Ferrari in that race. Porsche won by a little bit.
Okay.
Ferrari came out and made an official statement bitching and chirping and whining and complaining about BOP.
I heard about that. So you think politics are to play here?
I think there's a lot of politics to play here. You can see where I'm going with this. I think they were scared to say something, or they know that the angry Italians will come back and, I don't know, throw marinara sauce on them or something. I don't know.
Yes, that's what they do.
Yes.
I see your point of view here. I would not want to be in the steward's shoes because you decide the championship, and it's kind of shitty that you got put into that spot where you do decide the championship at this point. And I wonder if the no call is better than a call of deciding a championship. I don't know.
But is the no call not a call in itself?
It is like. I don't know.
So I'm a little bitter about how the WE season ended. Let me give you the quick results, the winners of each class here. In the hypercar class, the number 8 Toyota Gazoo Racing, driven by Sebastian Buemi, Mr. Nakayama, and Hartley. That Toyota took first.
Okay.
And LMP2 was the number 31 Team WRT by Habsburg, Milese, and Frisians. LMGTE Pro was taken by the slimy bastards in the number 51 Ferrari AF Corsa by Pierre Guidi and Alessandro Pierre Guidi and Collado. And then LMGT AM was another Ferrari, the number 83 Ferrari AF Corsa team, Parado and Nielsen with Rivera.
I can see how a Porsche fan would be a little salty about the end of that season.
God damn, I'm so salty about that. Oh, it made me so angry. Ugh, it didn't even look like even remotely clean. That was just a full-blown freaking punt.
It was. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of the Ferrari driver. Put yourself in the shoes of the stewards. It's tough.
Yeah, but you gotta at least try to dive to the inside. You can't just square on hit him in the rear.
That's what kind of threw me off. If there was a dive to the inside and he punted him out, like, okay, he made an attempt, but he didn't even make an attempt. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my point of view. Is it didn't even look like there was an attempt to even try to save it. It was just like must kill. They had a message from, the gods, the Ferrari gods that came through them and said, you must eliminate the Porsches. And boom, they're gone.
All right. Well, that is what it is.
I guess it is what it is. Yes. But I do have some other news to talk about.
More racing news?
I do. There's a lot of racing news to chat about this episode. So, Corvette, the jean shorts, the New Balances, them, right? Mm-hmm. So, Corvette Racing, more specifically. Good news from the Corvette Racing team. They have announced that they are racing the full WEC season, not just Le Mans.
Oh, really?
Yep. So, 2022, they're fielding a single car for the entire WEC season. Like, I think it's all 6 races or however many races it is. So, pretty cool. Stoked about that.
Okay. That's great. Is it going to be the current car?
Kind of, with some tweaking.
Okay.
It's going to be driven by Tommy Milner and Nick Tandy.
Okay.
So it's kind of like they're taking the two Corvettes they have now, and one is going WEC and one is going IMSA GTD Pro.
Oh,
Because
that's
that brings me
interesting.
to my next point, is that Corvette is bringing a modified C8R to the GTD Pro in IMSA for the 2022 season.
Oh.
Currently, their Corvette is not GTD compatible. It is
No.
only kind of the factory team spec, right? So they've kind of signed a waiver with IMSA, allowing them to modify their current C8R for 2 years worth of use while they develop a full-fledged GT3 spec Corvette for like a GT3R spec Corvette racing Corvette. So the modifications they're doing, they're going to have like a different rear wing profile. They are adding ABS, which all the GTD cars have ABS or anti-lock braking, and they are decreasing the power. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with all that.
Yeah, I think that's a move that they probably should have done initially when they built this car. They probably could have seen
Agreed.
forward that GTLM was about to die. You could see the numbers dwindling in that class from like 2 years ago. So I kind of wonder why this move wasn't a little bit earlier. But I really like what they've done with this new car. I'm a big fan of this.
Me too. Now, the IMSA car is going to be driven by Antonio Garcia and Jordan Taylor. So,
Yes.
yeah, Rodney Sandstorm is staying in a Corvette.
Perfect. Jordan Taylor should stay in a Corvette.
Yeah. Stoked about that. So, that's the new Z06 GT3R, C8R, IMSA, WEC Corvette news.
Cool. I did see that they will have this available for customers, I think, in 2024, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing about this is that GTD is not allowed to be a factory team, I believe, in IMSA.
Correct.
It has to be a privateer team.
Yep.
Are they going to run this under the factory banner for these 2 years here?
That I'm not sure of. That may be a special waiver that they've got with IMSA.
Yeah, it probably is. Because IMSA wants to keep this car in the mix because the fans of this car are just everywhere in the U.S. And even abroad as well. But I will be curious to see if this runs under the banner of a privateer team or if this runs under the banner of the factory team.
Yeah, I think IMSA is gonna treat it the same way that they're treating the WeatherTech Porsche, right? You know, GTLM is supposed to be factory teams only, and there's a privateer team racing a factory car, the RSR. So
Yes.
that they're probably doing a modified version of that. Does that make sense?
You're probably right about that. That does make sense.
Okay. So let's get out of the Corvette news. So put your New Balances and your jean shorts away, and let's have a chat and a little preview talk about this weekend's Motul Petit Le Mans this Saturday, the 13th.
Little Le Mans.
So, yes, the Little Le Mans, the littlest of the Le Mans.
Okay. That is the next race. I believe that this used to be run where it was either 10 hours or 1,000 miles or kilometers. I couldn't remember which one, but it was like whichever one came first, and I kind of like that. Now I believe it's going to be run as just a 10-hour race, which is fine. I haven't been to this race in the track. It is a very, very hilly Road Atlanta track, really cool part of the town as well. And if you have a chance to go, definitely go, because they go in from the morning into the nighttime, and watching those cars run at night, as we saw at Sebring, is always amazing.
Yeah, that is a track that I have not personally been to, but I want to go to Petit Le Mans so bad. I want to do that whole trip to Road Atlanta.
Yes, Road Atlanta is an amazing track. Do you have any picks that you want to talk about coming up here?
So one thing I did want to mention, this being the final race of the 2021 season in the IMSA series, WeatherTech Racing, the only team running Porsches in GTLM, has decided to field a second Porsche 911 RSR for this Petit Le Mans. I'm happy to see that. I wish they would have done that a long time ago. I wish that we could have seen two RSRs racing throughout the season, two RSRs versus two Corvettes versus two BMWs. That would have been great. But we'll take what we can get. The second RSR is going to be driven by Estra Christensen and Frederick Makowiecki. They're all going to share the number 97 Porsche RSR. So Yeah, those are three absolute studs, Porsche studs in the car. They are some real wheelmans. I think this could be a good race for the RSR.
I'm with you. I think it could be. I would be surprised if they won it over Corvette, because Corvette has shown a ton of dominance this year. And I think, I don't know for sure, but I think that they already have the championship locked up.
I think they do, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. This is kind of the swan song of the GTLM class. So whoever wins it will be put in the record books as the final winner of that class, and then we'll move over to GTD. Do we know if Porsche is going to be running the RSR anymore after this?
And that was my next point. I'm going to shed a tear, because from what I know, it's all going to be GT3R, not the RSR. So what they currently run in GTD, which I am partial to that RSR because it is a screamer and it is a looker.
It is a screamer. It is a looker. It's the only mid-engine one they have, right?
Yeah, technically it is a mid-engine 911. If you've seen any pictures of like the body peel away, that engine is like right behind the driver.
Yeah, it's a weird spot for Porsche to put an engine, but so is a weird spot for Corvette to put an engine. Like, it's, I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I'm a little sad that that's happening. One quick note is I believe in the DPI championship battle, I believe their whole championship standings, that I think they're pretty much hinged on this race. Is whoever's taking this race in DPI is pretty much taking the championship, I believe.
Yeah, I believe you're right. I think that there is a good battle coming down to the wire there. And I'm stoked to watch that because that class always has excitement at this track.
Yeah, last year I think Road Atlanta, the DPI class was super spicy.
Yeah, it came down to the last hour of somebody getting punted off, which is kind of what you want to see.
Yeah, as a fan, absolutely.
Yep.
One more quick notable that I do want to quickly touch on is the GTD battle. That is going to be maybe the best race to watch of Petit. It's going to be pretty much a three-way battle between the number 9 Pfaff Porsche, the number 1 Paul Miller Lamborghini Huracan, and the number 23 Heart of Racing Aston Vantage. So those are three very different cars, rear-engined, front-engined, and mid-engined. There's a lot of variety here, cool liveries, and that's going to be a good race to watch. I'm excited for the GTD battle.
Yes, I will take another dose of that, please. Can I have lots more of that?
Yes, unlimited. Can I have an unlimited GTD battle button? I'll push it all day. Bring on that GTD battle. God, I'm so excited to see how GTD plays out, because this is going to be, and you already know who I want to win GTD.
Oh, I know. I do like the livery on that Pfaff Porsche, though. It is good.
That's what I'm saying. That Pfaff Porsche livery is fantastic.
Yep, it is awesome.
One more quick GTD note that I do just briefly want to touch on because I'm a Porsche nerd. So there is a longtime faithful Porsche driver. His name is Patrick Long.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sure you have. He pilots I believe it's the number 16 Wright Racing Porsche GT3R. So that's the first form. Wright Racing is the blue Porsche. He is actually stepping away after this season.
Really?
Yep. He's taking a role in he's taking a role with Porsche Motorsports North America and with Porsche Cars North America as more of a race support role. So like a competitive consultant, coach, that kind of stuff. So he's no longer going to be a permanent driver, but he will be a kind of a coach, consultant, something like that.
That seems to be the path for retirement. You're still at the track on the weekends that they're running, and you're still teaching people how to drive, and you're still giving good insight, but you're not driving the car at race day.
Yeah, you're still wheeling the car around during practices, getting to feel what the car can do, but you're not putting it online. And it makes sense, because do you know how old Patrick Long is now?
No.
Give me a guess. How old do you think Patrick Long is? Just by looking at him.
By looking at him, he looks fairly young to me. I mean,
doesn't he?
39.
Well, you're pretty much sure he's 40.
Okay.
right?
All right.
He doesn't look 40 in my opinion, and yeah, he's 40 years old.
Huh.
He's been racing forever. This will be, I think, the first Rolex 24 of next year that he will not be starting in like 18 of them. So
Really?
a long
He's
time.
not gonna get put
Sure,
in
it's bittersweet
any
for
car.
him. We'll see.
Those big endurance races, sometimes those guys will come out of the woodwork and here's a small team. I'll give him a helping hand. But
Yeah, you know what? He might.
if he's contracted with a Porsche, though, he might not be allowed to.
True. He may just. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I don't
Who
know.
knows? We'll find out.
Interesting.
We'll find out. So, do you have anyone that you're rooting for? Anyone that you're rooting against? What are your picks, hot takes? What are you thinking for this race?
Honestly, I don't want an Acura to win. I want to see a Cadillac win.
Okay.
Just because I've seen Acura with a little too much dominance, and I have something against those cars. I don't know what. I just don't like the look or sound or anything about those cars. And the Cadillacs just look and sound more bullish and brunty and better to me.
That's fair. Sound like me with the BMWs.
Yes. I
don't like the look of them. I don't like the sound of them. I just hate them so much.
Yes. I don't want an Acura to win, but I do like the Wayne Taylor Racing boys, and they are in an Acura right now. So we shall see.
Yep, we shall see. We shall see. All right. So let's move on from IMSA then.
Okay.
So did you happen to catch any or hear of anything about the F1, the Mexico Grand Prix, the Mexican Grand Prix?
All I heard... Oh, tell me about it. I did hear something.
Okay. So you can sum it up with kind of one word.
Okay. Oh, boy.
Boring.
Formula boring. I see.
So I took some time off. It was my wife and I's anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally was like, yes, I get to watch a Formula One race start to finish. Yes. So excited. And about halfway through, I was like, why am I even watching this? What is the point?
Oh, boy. Okay. What happened?
I'm gonna say the only real excitement was that this was the first time in a Mexican Grand Prix that a native of Mexico has ever led a lap, ever in the history of the world.
A native of Mexico.
Yes, so like a native Mexican has actually led a lap in the Mexican Grand Prix.
Who would that be?
Sergio Perez.
Oh. Yeah, you're right.
Checo.
Yep.
Yeah. So he had a good race. It was pretty much just a game of tires. It was a tire battle.
Okay.
Right. If you've been watching for a while, you know that Sergio can just coax life out of tires like it's no one's business.
Mm-hmm.
So he ran longer on his first stint of tires than everyone else, which means towards the end of the race he was way fresher on tires than everyone else.
Yep.
So he led a bunch of laps. When he went into the pits to get his last set of tires, Hamilton passed him up, or Verstappen and Hamilton passed him up. So that was kind of the only excitement part. Now, I will tell you, watching what happened at the end has made me more excited for the next generation of cars, because once Checo got out of the pits with his fresh tires, he was chasing down Hamilton, because Hamilton's a whiny little baby with his tires. If they're like 1% not perfect, he's like, oh, the tires are horrible now. Right? That's just how Hamilton is with his tires. So Hamilton was being a baby about his tires, and Sergio was just catching him and 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 catching him. And finally Sergio got within, I don't know, 6 or 7 tenths of a second behind Hamilton towards the last little bit of the race. And he couldn't pass.
Yeah, that's where the aero wash becomes uncontrollable in those cars, and you don't have any grip.
Yeah, exactly, which is making me way more excited for the next generation of cars, because then that could have meant that Checo could have absolutely passed Hamilton. So can you guess the podium? What did the podium look like?
Well, it sounds like it was probably a Red Bull on top with Verstappen is my guess. It was probably Hamilton, and then it was probably Perez.
No, how'd you guess?
seems pretty easy to determine that one. What happened to the other Mercedes? Bottas.
Bottas, he didn't have a great race. He just didn't have a good race. He got tangled up with, I think it was Ricciardo. I think Bottas and Ricciardo got tangled up in the first corner.
Okay.
Pretty much screwed Ricciardo, screwed Bottas, and yeah, the whole thing just went to shit for those two.
That's so funny. One's one of the, like, there's the team of two, right? The two teams of two. The Red Bull team of two and then the Mercedes team of two. If you lose one on either side, you box the other car in with the team cars, and like your strategy is all messed up, and you can't do anything.
Yeah. Yep. So that's the Mexico Grand Prix. It was Formula boring, just kind of blah. Happy to see that Sergio Perez got a podium in his home race. Happy to see that he was able to make history and be the first native of Mexico to lead a lap at the Mexican Grand Prix.
Okay. Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
I do believe that puts does that put Max on top in points, and I think that puts him up on top by like 19 or 20 points, like a decent number.
Yeah,
you can only get 25 points, or maybe 26 if you lead the lap, if you get the fastest lap in a race. So that puts him at a point where he's almost a full race ahead in points, and I believe there's only 4 races left in the season.
Yeah, so Hamilton's going to win a race, which means they're going to be pretty much tied in points again. Yeah. And then Verstappen's going to win a race, which means they're going to be pretty much – it's just going to be a back-and-forth battle. Hopefully we see Verstappen and Hamilton just get tangled up in every race for the rest of the season, and that would be great to watch.
And watch
that would just be great to watch.
Chaos on the podium.
Yeah, watch, like, I don't know, Raikkonen take a podium for his last season. That'd be great.
That would be awesome. That was what happened at Monza, right?
He wasn't Raikkonen, but it was Hamilton and Verstappen got tangled up, and it was Ricciardo followed by Lando Norris.
Right.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all the news or the synopsis of the Mexican Grand Prix. If you disagree with me, then sorry to hear it.
Formula boring. Well, I found something in the land of Arizona that was not so boring.
Do tell.
We found a road. It was on the way to Jerome, Arizona. It was 89A was the name of the road. And oh boy, there were some switchbacks. There were switchback after switchback after switchback, and it was a lot of fun.
Don't you just wish we had roads like that here?
I wish it so much, dude. We need those kind of roads here, but we don't have.
That's what I
close.
wish so. That's what I miss so bad about living either in Tennessee or in Colorado is those roads. God, I miss that so much.
Yep, it was like 2,000, 3,000 feet of elevation, and it was just right off the cliff. You were going down good 500 to 1,000 feet. Don't mess it up, but when you're having fun, it's a blast to drive those roads.
Yeah, definitely.
While we were doing that, we saw some pretty awesome cars. There was a little town called Jerome, and we stopped to have a little lunch. It was an old mining town. And
oh, cool.
Yeah, while we were there, we had lunch. We got a couple little souvenirs. You could see in the background Sedona, which is a very well-known town for having very picturesque mountains, very red clay and a whole bunch of layers on the mountains. So while we were up there, we got to see a really cool variety of cars. And my car spot of the week is in there.
Yeah, when you've got roads like that, you're bound to see a lot of just interesting and fun and cool cars.
Yes. It seemed to me like the JDM club was out.
Oh, yeah, baby. Here we go. So,
what we saw up there, I turned the corner and I happened to see, a Porsche sitting next to an NSX, sitting next to another NSX, sitting next to another NSX. It was just the team of NSXs up there. It was wild.
Dang.
Do you happen to know what kind of Porsche that is?
I do. That is a 911, obviously, but more specifically a 991.1 Turbo S.
Okay. It was awesome. I can imagine that car would be a blast to drive up and down that hill all the time.
I would absolutely imagine that would be a great car to drive up that hill.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there were also a whole bunch of other little sporty cars. There was a nice little BRZ there. There's a Civic Si. Oh. In the background, you got a Volkswagen back there. I could totally see you in one of those.
A little GTI ripping up there in a hot hatch. Absolutely. That's the whole point of a hot hatch. Yep. Take the kids to school, then rip up the mountain road. Absolutely.
And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the pictures that I have taken here. In the background, you can also see the hills of Sedona, which is very cool. There was also a couple of BMWs, a nice little FRS or BRZ. Can't even tell which one that is. I think that might be a BRZ because it's got the fog lights there. Pretty sure that's a BRZ. Also, awesome cars to drive up and down that road. And then we had an Alfa Romeo.
Oh, a 4C. Itty-bitty little teeny tiny thing. Love those.
That'd be a blast to drive up and down that because you're turning.
That would be such a
teeny.
Yeah, that would be such a fun little car. It would just zip up the thing like a little gnat.
And then for my car spot of the week, I had two of them here. There was an NSX parked in front of an R32 Skyline, which was super cool. So
that is like the perfect old school and new school JDM.
Yes, it is. I am pretty sure that the JDM club of that area was ripping up and down the hill that day, and it was awesome.
That's sick. Yeah, that's like the perfect, like, okay, old school analog R32 Skyline GTR. Right next to a newer hybrid NSX. That's perfect new school JDM. So that's the best of both JDM worlds. I can dig that. That's freaking sweet.
Yeah. So that R32 is definitely my car spot of the week. But there is a couple honorable mentions. There was a, not the Bronco Sport, but some proper Broncos. I saw at least two of them there. I don't have the pictures.
Here we go.
And then as we were eating, going past us on the little road, there's only one road into Jerome and out of Jerome, which was pretty cool. But through that road goes 4 consecutive Ford Raptors with big fog lights on the top. They had huge dirt tires, and they are dirty, dude. Like, they had been out in the sand all day long.
Good. That is why you buy a Raptor. If you buy a Raptor and it's clean every day of its life, then you've bought the wrong car.
I 100% agree. It was awesome to go up and down that hill. Mind you, we were in a small car. I'll get to what we were in later. And it wasn't built for that, but it was still fun to drive those roads.
Oh, of course. Those, for someone that's like just enjoys driving, that kind of stuff is fun in anything.
Yes.
Whether it be a Corolla or a Turbo S, like, it doesn't matter. That is such a fun kind of road to drive.
Yeah, it was awesome. So did you happen to see anything while you were out and about?
I did. So one thing I did see, it's not going to be a spot of the week, but it is an honorable mention. But I saw a Dodge Ram 3500 dually. Now, that's nothing exciting.
Okay.
Nope. But what did make me go, is it had a Sebring and a Daytona Road Course track map sticker on the back.
Ooh, okay.
So that immediately made me like, ooh, what are you towing with that?
Okay.
That just, the allure there. So I don't know what the track day cars he has, but as soon as I saw him, I kind of gave him the eyes that, like, I know what you do with that truck. And I know. So that was something that was, it definitely connected the car enthusiast dots in my head. I was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anytime that I see just a white outline in a black window, little scribbly white outline, I'm like, ooh, is that a track map? What is that? I want to know what that is. What is that track map?
Yep. And I immediately recognized, like, ooh, Sebring and Daytona. All right, so this is a local yokel that takes his track cars out and he hoons around the track.
Yep.
Hell yes. So stoked to see that.
That's cool.
Then the next thing I saw was I actually we've got a nice big bridge we have here. It's called the John Ringling Causeway. I went out for a run on it one of these past couple of days here. And while I was stopped, the intersection right at the bridge there was both a Rolls-Royce Phantom and a Rolls-Royce Cullinan at the intersection. So this was just the intersection of Rolls-Royce. This was like, I would say, probably about $1 million worth of Rolls-Royce at one intersection.
The intersection that you're talking about is the spot to see that too.
Oh my God, yeah. Like, it is big money. Big money. So the Cullinan, don't really care for it.
Right.
It's just kind of a big heffalump of a thing. The Phantom, on the other hand, if I was being driven, I would ride in a Phantom.
Really?
Yeah, I think if you're being driven, not if you're driving, but if you're being driven, I think a Phantom is a really good option.
From a car enthusiast perspective, I don't know. From a luxury and I'm a little older and I have as much money as I can perspective, I get it. But right now, would you really want to be driven around in a Rolls Royce?
If I was coming back from a bar drunk out of my mind, absolutely. But like going to work on a Tuesday morning, no.
I think I'd rather be driven around in the right-hand drive R32 GTR. I think that'd be my version of class.
That would be sick. That would be sick for sure. But probably not quite as comfortable.
For sure.
So that brings me to my spot of the week.
Okay.
Now, my spot of the week is also a right-hand drive car.
Okay.
So it is coming from Japan. So this is a JDM right-hand drive Toyota Hilux Surf diesel manual transmission.
A Hilux? You saw a Hilux?
Oh my God. Yes, I did. And my wife was next to me. I was like, oh my God, it's a Hilux Surf. Oh my God. I'm freaking out. I'm losing my mind. We were going to watch the sunset and this thing was driving away from the beach, which is the proper place to have a Hilux Surf, by the way.
Yeah.
I lost it. Right-hand drive, turbo diesel, manual trans. Dude, it was so sick.
That is an amazing spot. Most people would look at that and just think it's like a weird-looking Jeep or something like that.
A 4Runner, right?
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, there's a Toyota 4Runner, whatever. But it's so much not. It is so much not a 4Runner. It is just, and I immediately recognized it because it has the funky little extra mirror on the very front left corner.
You're right.
That's what immediately I was like, wait a minute. And then I saw the bumper and I was like, wait a minute. That's like a factory bumper guard with fog lights. And then I was like, oh my God. And then I started to get even more crazy drooling over this thing. It's freaking sweet.
That's awesome. That is an amazing car spot, and it's going to the spot that it should be at, too.
Yeah, driving around on the beach, you cannot, like, not have that.
Right.
There's just so cool. It had the proper, this literally looks like it was just imported from Japan straight to the U.S., left everything on it. It looked like pretty much perfectly stock. It was just, I would absolutely have this as like a daily, just because it's so different and cool and it can do anything. And it's just,
yeah,
I love it.
I would totally have it as
so
a daily.
cool.
It's one of those under the radar classy cars that you don't see or hear of often.
And they're capable as hell too.
Right.
They're so capable. Factory rear locking differential. This is like a proper car.
It's a Hilux.
So that's that's gonna make my spot of the week is a JDM right-hand drive diesel turbo diesel Toyota Hilux Surf.
That's awesome.
So yeah. So that's my spot of the week. I think we are starting to get a little long on time.
We are.
Which means, do you know what is next?
Oh yeah. I wish they would have. And I have a good one for you, my friend.
Do tell.
Have you ever gone and got a rental car?
I have.
Okay. They ask you, would you like an economy car, a compact car, a mid-sized car, a full-sized car? What do you think a mid-sized car is to you?
See, my brain would just go, I would like an car, please.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
So a mid-sized car to me, I don't know, like a Camry, I think. Out of Corolla, Camry, something. I don't know.
They gave us, I believe that we chose a compact car. And no, maybe we chose a mid-sized car. And we did get a Corolla. Yeah, it was a Corolla.
That's kind of more compact than mid-sized.
That's what I was thinking. I don't really think that a full size would be like a Kia Optima. Is that a full-sized car?
That's more mid-sized to me.
Is a Honda Accord a full-sized car? What's a compact car in that case? A smart car?
A smart car or a Fiat?
Or what was the car in India that we were talking about? The 3-wheeler? The tuk-tuk.
Yeah, the Tata.
Yeah,
The tuk-tuk. Yeah, that what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. That thing. Yeah. Like the little horn that they honk. You know the horn I'm thinking of.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that I wish that car rentals could sort out their naming conventions because it's confusing and it doesn't seem correct to me.
Show up. Would you like an small car, an medium car, and big car? What kind of car would you like? You get an car.
At least they're not full Starbucks and I don't get a latte car or a venti car. But I think that they should upgrade their cars.
A venti car. What kind of car? I'd like a grande, non-fat car, please.
And that gets you
a grande, non-fat, skinny car.
like the Honda Pilot or something? I don't know.
Maybe something.
Yeah. I do not like the way that they do their naming conventions. It should just be like a car, a small car, a medium-sized car, and a large car. Seems simple.
I kind of think you're right.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I kind of think you're right about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Call me crazy.
It was interesting. So, do you have an I wish they would have?
I do. So, my I wish they would have comes from something that we have all struggled with. You ever been driving and then like you get to your destination, so you go to, I don't know, grab your phone out of the center console, and as you're reaching to put it into your pocket, it falls into the deep, dark abyss black hole that is that gap between the seat and the center and the armrest.
Yes.
Yes, I wish that didn't exist. I wish car manufacturers would engineer their seats or their armrest consoles to I don't know, have either a flap or something so that you don't lose your keys, your phone, your sunglasses, your wife, your house, everything into that black hole abyss of that little Bermuda Triangle of it's not even a full inch. It's 3/4 of an inch. That just is just perfectly enough to lose literally everything in your entire life. Every single thing goes through there.
Everything that's remotely important can fit through that gap. And it is a black hole because
100%.
Your hand, no, that ain't fitting. If you're sitting down,
no, you can't go down.
You can't get underneath because you're sitting there and that's just awkward and it hurts your shoulder. It's terrible.
And then you just end up leaving it there, so you get a new of whatever it was, whether it be sunglasses or something, or a new wallet. So I'm sure if you looked under my driver's seat right now, you would find anything. You would find sunglasses. You'd probably find other keys. You'd find phones. You'd find wallets. You'd find a map to everywhere in the world. You would find, I don't know, probably another person. I don't know, a cat maybe.
Yeah. I like that one. I like that one a lot. It seems like it's a very solvable engineering problem to just put a little, a little fine mesh there so it doesn't slip through that spot or something.
Something so that the black hole doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That's my I wish they would have, is I wish car manufacturers just get rid of the black hole, manufacture something that's either part of the seat or part of the console, something that, whether it be a flap or a mesh or something, that doesn't allow literally everything of even remote significance to be lost to you for the rest of eternity.
I like that one. I like that one a lot.
I figured, because most people would, I think, as well.
Yes.
Every single human that's listening or watching to this show has lost something under the seat through the Bermuda Triangle of horribleness and has scraped all the skin from their fingernail all the way up to their wrist until they went, crap, I can't reach it from here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. That's my wish they would have.
That's a great one, buddy.
All right. So I guess it's time to wrap up then. Do you have anything else for us, Derek?
I do not, my friend.
All right. So that's going to wrap us up for episode 37. Thank you all so much for listening and watching now on YouTube. Please do us a big favor. Leave us a 5-star rating and write a comment or a review on Apple Podcasts or YouTube or wherever you listen. Also, make sure you follow us on social. Our Instagram is weareauto_. Facebook is weareauto. TikTok, weareauto. And YouTube is weareauto. another big favor I'm going to ask everyone. Send us your I wish they would haves. Any auto-related news articles, anything that you're thinking of, all your I wish they would haves. I wish they would make something. Send it to us. Would love to chat about it on air. So again, that's going to wrap us up for episode 37. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.